Alright. Well, this video will be about the triple composite of my dad, my mom, and I, and showing the Patsy tattoo. Quick note on these statues. I grew up with this one. My dad had to do some repairs on it, but so he was in Indiana, and I found this one in Texas at a thrift shop for $2. And the brownie camera I found at another thrift shop, super cheap, and it's a 616, which is when the sun is on my sun-moon midpoint, and of course, there's my sun and there's my moon. Now, I've mentioned that they had a very strong Uranus connection, and they did die on the same day of the month, 17 and a half years apart, which is a Uranus opposition. So Patsy, that would be me on her hip, pregnant with my little brother, and we are the two biological children of the two of them. So that was extra special when I found this statue and the gun. In the late 70s, my mother had her first big turnaround, probably her Saturn return. I've actually never charted it. She went to the store to buy groceries for all of us kids. I have 3 older brothers at that time, and then me as a baby, and this one coming. And there was no food because of the trucker strike. And my mother learned to hunt, trap, shoot. She learned to garden and can and cook on a wood stove and do whatever it took. She's a Taurus rising, and she liked her comforts. She died of a heart attack probably from those pork chops she loved so much. But so they had this little farm in Texas. That was my great-grandmother's house that they lived at, and they did their thing, and that's where they lived when I was born. So anyway, so the statue was absolutely perfect to match his. Just another one of the synchronicities in my life. So I painted it black. Painted them black when after my dad died in 2023. Alright, so now the triple composite for my dad, my mom, and I. I've done a lot of chart editing today, so I didn't color code these. Bear with me. First thing we're going to notice off the bat is our triple composite has a 1 degree, 27 minute rising, which would actually connect to my Saturn-Venus midpoint here. But on the descendant axis, we have transit tattoo. Now, when I pulled the charts, I pulled them for the 16th, her birthday, even though this happened on the night of the 15th. So they give the transit numbers for noon of that day. So last night it would have been exactly on the descendant axis. Tattoo would have been. So woo-woo, that starts us out. And of course that's going to connect to all of the things that were around 0, 2 degrees, which is my Gianna at 025, my current last name at 214. This is our triple composite chart, which is all of our charts layered together, and it's a chart of our relationship. So let's see. We have chaos, square the ascendant and descendant, and I had a very chaotic childhood. And of course, chaos is regular chaos, and it's that cosmic creativity. I've always been very open talking to my dad about, all the woo-woo things that I experienced after Mom died and over the years, and I was able to show him things in charts that helped to ease his mind before he passed away. So, transit Saturn, of course, here, and Neptune, Apophis, Kali, all of those are here at the chaos. And we have Pat Miller also at 2 degrees, connecting to all the transit 2 degree Let's see. The composite Hades and my dad are conjunct here. And yeah, life was hell. This is 11th house, which is other people's children. My brothers were his stepkids, and they had a really rough time. And so did other women's children's. But he was very, very different. Very, very stubborn, stuck in his ways as a Taurus. Um, I would say abuse of the metaphysical energies. He had experience when he was a child that he was open with me about, where he's a 29-degree Pisces sun, and he said that he was laying on the couch and meditating and levitated, and nobody believed him. And he started drinking not long after that. And so anyway, Dad is opposite Neowise. This is the 5th house children. New wisdom. I was his Saturn return. He didn't do a lot of growing up then, but anyway. So, new wisdom, opposite Dad. And the last 7 years that I went back and forth from Texas to Indiana as his health declined, I learned a lot about him and his ways, and understood and made peace with my childhood and with him. So transit Sedna here at 045. Ergo, that new relevance for an old phenomenon at 2:30 here. Star and Chiron, Cancer. I was able to show him a lot of charts, and it was really because of Mom that I've been able to do so much. I've had so much just put in front of me, or yelled at me when I'm waking up, or a lot of weird things have happened over the years, bringing different things to my attention. Of course, transit Spirit here at 01 is on at our Psyche and Dad B. Now, Dad B is Dad Booer, and I chose that one for Dad the Booger because he really was. And I could see in his natal chart, there's a meme that says, get yourself an astrology girl. She'll understand why you're a bit of a knob. And when you can see how people's charts are laid out, and you can see, and you learn the higher and the lower traits and how things interconnect, it helps to understand how things can go awry in people's lives, and they can fall into patterns that are really hard to break. We do it ourselves. We have a hard time changing ourselves, and those patterns can be really, really hard to break. So does that take us all around? Angel at 148 here, and DNA at 128 sits right here on the descendant axis too. Missed that. Now I did mention in the other video, the progressed composite with my mom, that I woke up yesterday morning with DNA in my head 3 times like that, and I was working on different family charts, charting addiction. Beer was with Venus, actually. I had written it in here. I don't remember exactly where, exact degree, but it's traveling with Venus. And Venus is at its karmic, your spiritual purpose. So I was studying addiction charts and childhood trauma charts and the different family interconnections. So let's see. Angel and Miller here at 037. DNA. Gianna. Yeah. So Miller, Gianna, and Sedna. Betrayal by the father leading to something beautiful. I've always been very curious and want to understand things and people, and this has been a great way for me to look at things and understand it from a different perspective. So, we have a Cancer rising, which they do as well. Their composite rising is a 12 degrees, 12 minutes, a very spiritual number in numerology. And my solar return rising this year is exactly 12/12 Cancer. Yeah, so Cancer is family. Came in to be a family. All right. So we have Lovelock on the Mars here, and that's going to connect to the pacts, soul contracts, agreements. Connects to the nodes, the mean node at 944 and the true nodes at 858, so the nodes of fate. And of course, Lovelock is at the north node here with Beer right here near it, in Venus. And then Maine at 9 here is connecting. Aureola here at 10 is conjunct change. My dad talked in his sleep a lot and talked to people a lot in his sleep, and that was very interesting. Sorry. The moon here, 922. Nodes. Patsy at 1023. I knew there was something connecting to change in Aureola. My mom started waking up when she was 35 or so. She started going to Al-Anon, and that's where she learned that she could say no to being beaten, actually. My dad was an abusive alcoholic, and it was her childhood wounds that led her to him. So her childhood nickname, Patsy. And when she started waking up, she wound up finally leaving him because he wouldn't change. And so then we have Ginky here. And what is that, Eris? Pretty sure that's Eris. Discord and strife. It's really hard for me to see it, even with my glasses on. So, because everything's just so crammed here in our 10th house, which is the life direction house, the public house, and Eris is discord and strife. Eris is also rebellious, and so loving had crossed over that. And of course, Pat Miller, 842 here, had crossed over Lovelock and the Mars. And that's what we were comparing all of these to. I'd forgotten where I'd even started. That's why I color code them. Okay, so tattoo at 2948. That one's pretty easy. We have this new moon in Aquarius is right here. I have another tattoo video. A friend of mine had a spiritual experience getting a tattoo. I have 2 tattoo artists in the family, young men that I really like, and I've charted their things. So tattoo is square to the Kali here, and Kali is with the address at the vertex, which is Destiny's Gateway, and the South Node. Kali is very much related to the woo-woo and awakening, and it's opposite the North Node here. They're always opposite, and connecting to the star and Chiron. And Chiron, of course, is an astrologer, and I study wounds. I healed my wounds by seeing things in the charts and learning how to do this. Delphi, the oracle, also connects. Let's see. Now I've got it too big. Star in transit at 2911. Patricia's still kind of within range at 2650, almost 27 degrees. And Uranus, of course, 2731, square to the sun. And Miller at 2715 is semi-sextile here to the sun, sextile to Uranus. And, yep, you see how we do this? Alright, so, if we go to the 24s where Eris is, now I have Mercury conjunct Eris and Chiron, so, in my natal. So, they are in Aries, here we are. And Chiron and Patsy are conjunct, as I said in the other video. 22, 58, 23, 29. Eris right here nearby at 24, 44. So those connect to Freud in 12th house. And the progressed composite, which is opposite the part of fortune in the 6th house. There's something else. The Pluto's at 25. So Eris is almost trine to the Pluto. And, oh, Patsy, Chiron, and Eris are all opposite the Neptune. Here in that 5th house of hobbies, creativity, and Libra relationships. They're going to loosely connect to the Vertex Destiny's Gateway. Aureola at 2516 and Atlantis at 2348. So we've got Atlantis, Patsy, Chiron. I have very strong Atlantis. It's my dad's 29 degree Pisces, which is conjunct my Diaretsa, which is asteroid backwards. So anyway, Aureola, of course, my dog, and that led me to the Heart Rock. And Aureola is related to psychic things. Alright, so Mercury is on our composite meta, which is metaphysical. And the 9th house ruled by Jupiter, which is a spiritual connection and protection. Mercury had just crossed over Patsy. And of course, Mercury is trine to Jupiter, Kronos. And I didn't put the other one that was in here. Mental is the other one. Mental being the what I was studying, the different mental vagaries in the family charts and the psychic sensitivities. Faith on here is with the Sedna. Eris is on the Sedna. And Sedna is that betrayal. Eris, discord and strife for positive changes opposite the Neptune. So, alright. We have Quirk and Babylon here in the 8th house, Aquarius. Aquarius is astrology. 8th house is occult subjects. The taboo, which astrology is so often considered. And Vesta and Mars are on them. So they're right on that Quirk and Babylon. And they're square to transit Quirk. And Dad be in transit here in Karma and Neowise. And I see some I really need to hit. They'll be connecting to the Uranus in the 1st house here. to the Saturn in the 12th. I started to say something is why I paused. Oh, there's the Chronos too, connects to that Sedna and Phaethon and Neptune. There's a lot of grandparent issues, actually. They're grandparents and parents. So, anyway. Oh, let's see. DNA and Apophis and Kali are on the young, which is, of course, the psychologist who was in tune with metaphysics as well as psychology. And he was very interested in psychic phenomena. So, young is also young, as in, young children. It's very interesting to see how it can play out sometimes. So I've lost track where I was doing the 18s. We have the Mercury here and the Vesta here. Those are in Pisces. And of course our midheaven is that 1658. So right in between 16.5 degrees, that's so prominent. And it's very close to 17 degrees, which is a big deal for me, and connecting to Gagnero here in transit and to Dad B opposite. And Patricia Ann, of course, is connecting to Pluto at in Aquarius in her last name. And Pluto is related to magic as well as contact from beyond. Pluto is also the big emotional things and the dark and yucky things that we grow through, transform through. And then, of course, Aura and Juno are at 17 and 1839, connecting to all of those almost exactly. Now, the 11 and 12s are very interesting. Spirit and Quaor, that cosmic connection, are both 11 degrees here, just within minutes of each other. Those connect to the Gagnero and to Mom's last name here in the first house. I was told by my uncle that my mother actually learned to use the wood stove with help from her grandmother, who was long past. So, my mother was very psychic, but never really grew into her gifts. Psyche here at 1147. Genki up here, 1033, connecting to Patsy at 1023. So you get the idea. Quaor here at 1206 and Phallus there when the cork is popped on something. Genki at 1247. Now, let's see. Alright. I'm sure there's something I missed, but that's why I try to number them out at least. So Meta at 839 is connecting in some of the other charts really, really strong, but it's connecting at 9 degrees to Main Street here. Eris and Genki. Loving. Meta at 839. Making a trine to Loving. I love seeing these things. It's just, that's only a minute off. So even if I skip over some, and I love seeing them. Now, let's see. The The Pax is connecting to Transit Main. And yeah, so you kind of get an idea where, even though they've been gone, my dad died in August 2023 and my mom back in 2006, the charts still keep going and things are not as they seem. We're just not shown how. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, it just changes forms. So that's been one of my things, is to really be able to show the contact and the magic that can happen if you're open to it. Anyway, so I'm sure I've missed some things, but just a little peek at how a triple composite can work. I've pulled them on most of the family members in different ways and charted out things and see some pretty amazing stuff. So it kind of gives you an idea. We grow through a relationship, and that's just one of those things. So anyway, thanks for watching.